Here's a demonstration video for this stereo time code Nagra number 606426. And it's in exceptional cosmetic condition. It has no cosmetic anomalies, and bottom is very clean as well. I've got it hooked up right now to a small function generator with a Sound Devices Mix Pre-D, just so we can run a test on it. We can demonstrate that it records and plays, and also has the original frequency response spec from record to playback, which is fairly easy to demonstrate. And we'll just thread up a tape here. This is a fresh piece of Quantity, I think it's 478 tape, and a fresh roll of which is part of the sale. Got Quantity tape here, and the bias position is on number 1. I've found that the best bias position to maintain good frequency response at 15 kilohertz and above is on position 1. Now this comes with the original paperwork, with the original serial number and all the specifications, and the instruction manual, and it also includes a power supply. Now that doesn't have the same mint condition that the recorder's in, but it's a good power supply. So when we go into test, we see that I'm feeding about 100 hertz tone here, and you can see the action of the meter. It's a dual stereo meter, a dual needle meter, and when I switch between left and right, you can see the meters red and green needle alternate. And now I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit on this, and we'll put it into record. We'll turn the volume up a bit. You're listening to direct right now. Of course, you can't make any judgments on a YouTube video about what you're hearing, but now we're in tape, so we're listening off the reproduce head via this tape direct switch. That's direct, and that's tape. Now if I put the meter in playback, you can see that input at -15 on the modulometer. When we switch to reproduce, it's also 15. Of course, that's no great feat at 100 hertz, so we'll go through a few frequencies. But I would like to, since I've been using this as a test tape, we'll rewind a little bit, and that will also demonstrate the condition of the belts, because it's got great rewind action. So if we're working from the other side of the tape, and put the real nuts on, and I'm doing all this at 7.5 IPS. Here we'll go into rewind. Of course, the best response is obtained at 15 IPS, but these machines 90% of the time on location were used at 7.5. With this 7-inch reel cover, that was an $800 accessory. The Nagra, stereo Nagra itself, was around $8,000 to $10,000, depending on what accessories you bought, and then the time code option added another $1,500 or so, depending on the year. So I'm rewinding a little bit into the middle of the tape, and I'll close the head cover and engage the machine. And now we're listening again to our 100 kilohertz or 100 hertz tone. And let's go to a higher frequency. I think that's about 4200 hertz. We're at minus 15 on the meter, and we'll go into record. And as you could hear, we're now listening to off the reproduce head. And then when we go to check the meter for reproduce at minus 15, it's holding its own well there for that 4200 hertz tone. We'll go up to say 10,000 hertz, and again at 7.5 IPS, that's a good response curve, input to output. You notice when I bump the machine, the flags indicate that the speed was interrupted a little bit, and that's why those are there, and also to show you that either timecode or pilot's being generated adequately on the coming off of the center head. Now we'll go up to here's 15,000 hertz. Let's see, that's 12 kilohertz. That's 15. I can barely hear it. I'm sure you can't, but when we go, we'll see how well it's reproducing at 7.5 IPS, reproducing 15 kilohertz. That steadily is really good. We can go up to 18,000 hertz. Again, you're not hearing anything, but when you look, you'll see the fall off just begins to happen, and that's down about -2, -3, which is to be expected at 7.5 IPS. So I'll go back to a tone we can hear. Looking again at 15, minus 15 on the modulometer, and then we go to look at the level on the playback head, and it's exactly at minus 15. That's with the bias set to 1. Now, of course, you have a number of speeds: 3 3/4, 7.5 IPS, and 15. I'm trying to see what else I can demonstrate to you, or I guess we'll play back those tones and watch the time code in playback. So we'll go to a convenient place and we'll go into play. We're probably listening to that 15. Well, there's no code here, as we can see. I don't know if I can get down to the... Oh, there it is. If you look carefully, you can see the time code is chasing there that was previously recorded. I'll turn down the volume a little bit, and we can go into fast forward, and you'll see that the meter starts to display, or the time code display goes to garbage. But once it locks in, that it's now counting the code that was previously recorded. And the speed, you don't see the TC pilot on playback unless you had a resolver and you'd send TC back into the machine. But there it is, reproducing the tone that nobody can hear. And there it is again, about 18 kilohertz, about 2 or 3 dB down. So that, I think, displays that the heads are in excellent condition. And if you take the reels off, we'll see that the faceplate's in great shape. Of course, we could go to Nagra Master at 15 IPS or 15 either CCIR or NAB, which is selectable by this set screw there. I'll just kind of take you on a visual tour here, trying to make this as expeditious as possible. XLR inputs are really clean. They're usually kind of chewed up. Got your choice of all kinds of mic powering options. Power pack input and the banana plug outputs. Of course, you can use those or you can use a Tuchel connector to hook up to the outputs. That appears over here. And I'll spare us this tone here so we can look at the rear of the machine. No bumps, no dents. Just want to make sure you know exactly what is being offered here. It's an amazingly clean machine. It has not seen a lot of use. Usually there's a tremendous amount of dirt along the faceplate from where the location mixers have had their hands on the machine, either fast forwarding or rewinding if they were doing a playback job or something like that. And of course, I'll go ahead and zoom out a little bit here so we can see pardon the bumping. There's the inside. And you see the time code adjustment, preamplifiers, all the modular cards, belts, motor. Really, really beautiful machine. What's remarkable about the way the machine is built is that you can load up a tape, you can put it into record, and just like so. Rolling now. Hook up a tone again. And we're listening off the playback head. If I play with you can hear the chirp as or if I were to take the tape, I don't really have a tool to do that, away from the playback head, you'd hear that. But of course this lid was supposed to keep anything from interrupting the tape path while it was in use as a documentary machine or in the field. Of course, you can open it, and, well, I didn't tighten the reel nut, so let me put that back down. Not bad, though, but I'll put the reel nuts on so the reels don't fall off the hubs when I open the lid. It's like the hood of an automobile. Now we're rolling. Listen to a different tone, why don't we? A little easier on the ears. Rolling again, we're listening to off the heads now, which you select either through the tape or direct switch. There we're recording at about -10 here. Both flags are working. I don't know if there's a reel-to-reel machine that you can take apart and have it continue to roll at sync speed without hearing any bits or bobbles in the playback off the head. It's designed to hold its own regardless of the speed. Now I've got to shut it off to close this properly. I've got to go into stop so that engages properly. But a really remarkable example of a stereo timecode Nagra. It's just immaculate. And with the original paperwork down to the serial number, this is the original paperwork that came with this machine, showing the frequency response charts and the noise levels as measured when it came off the line in the factory at Switzerland. Stereo timecode Nagra. Thanks for watching.